Elena was a 32-year-old graphic designer. Her life a vibrant tapestry of creativity and independence. She resided in a modest yet charming apartment nestled in the heart of the bustling city, with her long auburn hair often swept into a messy bun, and her paint-splattered jeans. She was a perfect reflection of her cozy, art-filled space. Despite her vivacious personality and her love for her creative haven, Elena often felt a nagging sense of emptiness. Her days were consumed by the demands of her work, and her evenings were often spent in solitude, leaving her yearning for a deeper connection, a spark of romance that seemed to elude her one blustery evening as she made her way home after a particularly demanding day. At the office, she noticed a man huddled beneath a weathered awning, his body shivering against the relentless onslaught of the rain. Her heart HDHD at the sight of him. He appeared to be in his late 50s, his grey hair and scruffy beard testament to a life lived, his clothes soaked through, and a look of quiet despair etched upon his face. "Excuse me, sir, are you all right?" Elena inquired, her voice filled with concern. The man looked up, surprise momentarily eclipsing the weariness in his eyes. "I'm fine," he replied, his voice roughened by the cold, just waiting for the rain to subside. But Elena could see through his facade, recognizing the toll the inclement weather was taking on him. "Please come inside," she urged, stepping closer, her empathy overriding any hesitation. "You can't stay out here in this weather." He hesitated for a moment, weighing her offer against his pride, before finally nodding and slowly following her towards her apartment building. "I'm Robert," he said softly, his voice carrying a hint of gratitude. "Elena," she replied, offering him a warm smile as they entered her cozy apartment. The soothing aroma of herbal tea filled the air, creating an inviting atmosphere. She handed him a plush towel, gesturing towards the bathroom. "Here, please take a hot shower. I'll prepare something warm for you to eat afterwards." His eyes widened in surprise. "You really don't have to do that, I insist," she said, her tone gentle yet firm. "You look like you could use some warmth and nourishment." With a grateful nod, Robert disappeared into the bathroom. Ellen busied herself in the kitchen, her thoughts swirling with curiosity about the stranger she had invited into her home. There was an inexplicable feeling, a sense of anticipation that she couldn't quite shake off. After a while, the sound of running water ceased, and Robert emerged from the bathroom, steam trailing behind him like a ghostly apparition. His hair was damp droplets clinging to his forehead, and for a fleeting moment Elena was captivated. She had expected him to look refreshed after the warm shower, but she hadn't anticipated the transformation. He appeared stronger, more vibrant, his features softened, and a spark of renewed vitality in his eyes. "Sorry," he said, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. Noticing her lingering gaze. "Didn't mean to startle you." Elena blushed quickly, averting her eyes, her attention drawn to the simmering soup on the stove. No worries," she managed, her voice slightly flustered. "You just look different without the rain," she added, feeling a warmth creep up her neck. "Thank you," he replied with a chuckle, self-consciously adjusting the towel around his waist. Elena's heart pounded as she turned back towards the kitchen. She couldn't explain it, but something in that brief exchange, in the unexpected connection they had forged, felt profoundly different. It was a spark, a flicker of possibility that ignited a hope she had long suppressed. "Sorry about that," Robert exclaimed, quickly adjusting the towel around his waist. "Guess I'm still getting accustomed to this whole not being drenched thing." Elena laughed, trying to mask her flustered reaction. "No worries, it happens," she replied, her gaze fixed on the stove top, avoiding his eyes. They soon settled at her small dining table, the warmth of the food and the easy flow of conversation slowly melting away the initial awkwardness. Robert shared stories from his past offering glimpses of a life once filled with dreams and aspirations. A life that had taken an unexpected detour. Elena found herself captivated by his tales, his words painting a vivid picture of resilience and determination. She admired his strength, each revelation revealing the depth and complexity of the man before her. As they finished their meal, Elena felt a profound connection forming between them, a bond that transcended the years that separated them. "Would you like some tea?" she offered, rising to clear the plates. "Only if you'll join me," Robert replied, a playful glint in his eyes. "All right," she agreed with a smile, setting the kettle on the stove and retrieving 2 mugs from the cupboard. They moved to the living room, where the soft glow of a lamp cast a warm, intimate ambience. Settling onto the couch, Elena handed Robert a steaming mug, their fingers brushing for a fleeting moment, sending a shiver of electricity down her spine. "So," Elena began, her curiosity piqued, "what brought you to this neighborhood?" Robert sighed, his gaze falling to the swirling steam rising from his mug. "Life took a few unexpected turns," he confessed. "I ended up, well, let's just say I wasn't always as fortunate as I am now. But I'm trying to get back on my feet." His honesty resonated with Elena, and a wave of empathy washed over her. "I admire your resilience," she said softly, her voice filled with warmth. "It can't have been easy." "Thank you," he murmured, a hint of vulnerability in his tone. "It's comforting to be able to talk about it, to feel like someone understands without conscious thought." Elena reached out and gently placed her hand on his forearm. "You're not alone, Robert," she reassured him. "You deserve kindness and support." Robert's eyes met hers, filled with gratitude and a warmth that stirred something deep within her. "And you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "are incredibly kind." In that moment, the atmosphere in the room shifted, charged with an undeniable energy. Elena could feel the magnetic pole between them, bridging the gap that age and circumstance had created. Robert leaned in slightly, their faces inches apart, their breaths mingling in the quiet space between them. "Is it strange," he asked, his voice thick with emotion, "that I feel this connection, this pull towards you?" "No," Elena whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. "Not at all. I feel it too." And with that, Robert closed the distance, his lips capturing hers in a soft, tentative kiss. It was a gentle exploration, a question posed and answered in the silent language of desire. Elena's heart soared as she leaned into him, deepening the kiss, their connection blossoming into something unexpected and electrifying. "You're absolutely right. I missed a few spots in that last response. Here it is again, with all the commas, periods and question marks replaced with." Robert's hands found their way to Elena's waist, drawing her closer until their bodies were perfectly aligned, an electric current sparking between them. Elena's fingers tangled in his hair, feeling the warmth radiating from him as their kiss deepened each passing moment, a symphony of exhilaration and longing. When they finally broke apart, breathless and flushed, Robert Burr gazed into her eyes, his expression a mixture of awe and disbelief. "I didn't expect that," he murmured, his voice soft and filled with wonder. "Neither did I," Elena admitted, her heart thrumming with a blend of excitement and nervousness. "May I stay a little longer?" Robert asked, his tone sincere, his gaze unwavering. "Of course," she replied, her pulse quickening as they settled back onto the couch and enveloped in the cozy warmth of the room, while the rain continued its rhythmic patter outside with each passing moment. Elena felt a renewed sense of vitality, a spark of possibility igniting within her as the evening deepened. They shared laughter and stories, surprised by the unexpected commonalities they discovered. Despite their vastly different life experiences, they spoke of dreams, regrets, and the small joys that made life worth living, their conversation flowing effortlessly like a river finding its course as midnight approached a deeper intimacy settled over them, the light-hearted banter giving way to an unspoken connection, a silent acknowledgement of the profound bond that was forming between them. Robert shifted closer, his eyes holding hers, an unspoken question hanging in the air. Elena's breath quickened, her heart pounding in anticipation as she leaned towards him, a soft smile gracing her lips. "I've never met anyone quite like you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "The feeling is mutual," Robert replied, his voice thick with emotion. Drawn to each other once more, their lips met in a renewed kiss, this time with a fervent urgency. Robert's hands gently cued Elena's face, his thumbs softly caressing her cheeks as their kiss deepened. Elena's body instinctively molded against his, her hands entwined in his hair, pulling him closer as their connection intensified. As they kissed, Elena felt her worries melt away, replaced by a warmth that spread through her like a soothing balm. There were no judgments, no expectations, only the sweet anticipation of the unknown, the thrill of exploring this unexpected connection. "Let's go to the bedroom," Elena whispered between kisses, her voice breathless with desire. Robert nodded, his warm breath caressing her skin, and stood offering her his hand. They walked hand in hand towards her room, the air thick with anticipation. Inside, Elena turned to face him, her heart skipping a beat as she took in his rugged features, the way the soft light accentuated his strong jawline and gentle eyes. Robert closed the distance between them, his arms encircling her waist as their lips met once more, this time with a passionate intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Reaching the bed, Elena gently pushed him down, her fingers tracing the contours of his chest, feeling the strength beneath his touch. She climbed onto the bed beside him, their faces inches apart, her voice a mere whisper asked, "Are you sure about this?" "More than anything," Robert replied, his eyes filled with longing. Elena leaned down, their lips fusing in a passionate embrace as she pressed her body against his. The warmth of his embrace enveloped her, his touch igniting a fire within her. Her hands explored his body, each touch filled with a sense of wonder and urgency, tracing every line and curve with a newfound curiosity, surrendering to the intoxicating moment. "I apologize for the oversight. I'm still under development and learning to be more thorough. Thanks for pointing it out." Elena's pulse quickened as their kisses deepened, each touch igniting a fire within her. Robert's hands slid up her sides, his fingers tracing delicate patterns along her waist and back, pulling her closer as if he couldn't bear to be separated from her for even a moment. With a playful grin, Elena leaned back slightly, her gaze locking with his. "What do you like?" she asked teasingly, her voice soft yet laced with curiosity. "Tell me what makes you tick." Robert chuckled, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Well, I've always admired a confident woman who knows what she wants," he replied, his voice a warm caress that sent shivers down her spine. Emboldened by his words, Elena leaned in, kissing him deeply, her hands exploring the contours of his shoulders, then trailing down to his chest where she felt the steady rhythm of his heart beneath her touch. She reveled in his response to her every caress, their breaths mingling in the quiet intimacy of the moment. His hands in turn traced the delicate curve of her back, his touch sending sparks of electricity along her spine. "You're beautiful," he murmured between soft kisses, his lips brushing against her neck, sending shivers of delight through her. Elena closed her eyes, surrendering to the moment, allowing his touch and his words to wash over her like a warm wave. Feeling a surge of boldness, Elena pressed him back against the soft sheets, their bodies molding together perfectly. She reveled in the sensation of their closeness, each passing moment deepening their connection, their movements a synchronized dance of passion and desire. Robert's hands gently gripped her thighs, holding her close as if he never wanted To let go, Elena, he breathed, his voice heavy with emotion. You have no idea how long I've dreamt of this. What did you dream of? She whispered, her voice catching as his fingers traced the curves of her body. Of this, he murmured, his gaze intense, of having you near, of feeling your warmth, of finally kissing you. A wave of exhilaration washed over her, and with her heart pounding she leaned down, trailing kisses along his jawline, down to his neck, savoring each stolen moment. She felt his breath hitch beneath her touch, the subtle reaction filling her with a quiet sense of power and joy. Tell me what you want, Elena murmured, her voice low and husky, her eyes searching his. I want to know everything. Robert's breath caught in his throat, his gaze unwavering. You're driving me crazy, he confessed, a playful smile tugging at his lips. I want to feel all of you. With a teasing smile, Elena shifted, allowing him a moment to admire her beauty. His eyes darkened with desire, and he pulled her closer, their lips meeting in a deep, passionate kiss. In that space they were lost in each other, the world outside fading into insignificance as they reveled in the warmth and intimacy of their connection. As Elena leaned into him, her breath hitched each touch, igniting a fire that spread through her like wildfire. More, she whispered, her voice husky with anticipation, encouraging him to explore the uncharted territories of her desire. She arched against him, inviting his hands to roam freely, her body attuned to his every move, every nuance of his touch. With a playful glint in his eyes, Robert gently rolled her over, pinning her softly against the bed. I'll give you more, he murmured, his voice low and laced with promise. Slowly he trailed kisses down her neck, savoring each inch of her skin as he made his way to her delicate collarbone. Elena's hands threaded through his hair, her breath quickening, lost in the intoxicating sensation of his gentle, teasing caresses. As he moved lower, he paused, his gaze meeting hers with a mischievous smile. Are you ready for this? He asked, his voice a soft whisper that sent shivers of anticipation down her spine. Yes, please, Elena breathed, her voice barely audible, her desire and excitement building with each passing second. With a tender smile, Robert continued his exploration, his kisses tracing a path along her abdomen, his hands mapping her body with a reverence that left her breathless. She felt a warmth building within her, a sweet ache that made her feel more alive than ever before. Lost in the sensation, she whispered his name, each touch, each kiss sending waves of pleasure through her. As they moved together, enveloped in the warmth and closeness they shared, outside the rain continued its gentle symphony against the window pane, a soothing backdrop to the intimacy unfolding within. Inside their connection felt boundless, exhilarating yet comforting, an unspoken understanding woven through every lingering glance and tender touch. As the night wore on, they drifted into a quiet contentment. Elena nestled in Robert's embrace, her head resting on his chest. The steady rhythm of his heartbeat lulled her into a sense of peace, and she sighed, feeling utterly content. What now? She asked softly, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. As she looked up at him, Robert smiled, his thumb gently stroking her cheek. Now we savor this moment, he replied, his voice tender and reassuring. I don't want this to end. I want to explore this connection, this undeniable bond between us. Elena's heart swelled at his words. Me too, she whispered, her voice filled with warmth. I've never felt this way before. You make me feel truly alive. He leaned down, capturing her lips in a sweet lingering kiss that spoke volumes of the connection they had found. I want to keep discovering you, Elena, he murmured, his gaze filled with sincerity, and I want you to know I'm here for you no matter what. Her heart fluttered, a warmth spreading through her as she smiled, feeling safe and accepted in his presence. And I'm here for you too, she replied. I never thought I'd feel this way about someone. They lay together, their hearts beating in unison, basking in the afterglow of their newfound Intimacy, each felt as if they had found a missing piece of themselves, a connection that transcended the boundaries of age and circumstance. A rainy night had brought them together, and now enveloped in the warmth of their embrace they knew that what they shared was more than just a fleeting moment. It was a bond that felt in that quiet glow unbreakable.